early on when the platform, but also the slogan "Defund the Police" came out, there were a lot of people criticizing it, saying, maybe I agree with the goals, but you're going to turn people off with this messaging. I always thought that was overblown, but that was a common refrain. Turns out, not so much. Didn't need to worry about that necessarily. According to new polling, most Americans believe, this is 77%, believe that those who use that phrase really just want to change the way police departments operate. Only 18% believe that people who use this phrase actually want to get rid of police departments. And I would guess, I don't know for sure, I would guess those 18% probably aren't predisposed to be intellectually honest towards Black Lives Matter in general. So, I mean, that is an overwhelming win in terms of messaging, that people get what they're saying.
Yeah, I think we downplayed the intelligence of good faith actors, right? People who are operating in good faith are intelligent enough to sit down and say, okay, now, I want to say something first. I do mean defund the police, right? I literally mean strip as much funding as you possibly can and keep it small enough to just solve crimes. Just small. The beat cops are not protecting us, right? So defund it. And my position is, quite frankly, the moderate position amongst people, because my friends to the left of me, who I love and I cherish, they want to abolish the police. Now, that being said, we know that the majority of America is not over here with us. And I know that my job is really to just push the envelope and to push the Overton window as far as I possibly can. In terms of the voters and the people who took that polling, they're intelligent enough to know what the majority of people feel. It is about fundamentally changing policing in this country at a level that we've never considered before people start screaming defund the police.
Yeah, no, I agree. When I use the term, I mean massively defund the police, not entirely remove it so that there's no law enforcement. We're in Mad Max, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having it do what it needs to do and not all of the things it doesn't need to do. And it doesn't need to be armed for, street combat in Fallujah and all of that. Exactly. And the thing is, look, I understand, I didn't weigh in a ton on the debate about the term early on, because some people who I really respect, like Cenk Uygur, he was against the term partially because he desperately wants the goals to be achieved, and he worried that it would be an impediment to that. Now, thankfully, it turns out it is not an impediment to that. But anyway, this is good news. I wanted to read just a couple of other stats about these protests and what's been going on. Some of it not particularly surprising. But 3 in 10 Americans feel that the actions taken during the recent protests against police and the deaths of black citizens were fully justified. There's others who believe it's partially justified. That's up from those who, only 17% who said that in early June. So it is trending in the direction of people feeling like, even with all of the negative press coverage of these protests, that what they're doing is fully justified. There's also information like this. Among self-identified Republicans and independents who lean towards the Republican Party, 40% say that racial discrimination is a big problem. This represents a 14-point drop from a few weeks ago. 35% say it's not a problem, which is higher than all prior Monmouth polls on this question. So, since the beginning of the protests, you've lost 30% of Republicans, maybe, say, I used to think it was a problem, but now I don't. That's madness.
Yeah, those are bad faith actors. And I'm at the stage, I'm at the stage where I really have to look through the lens of, did you ever want to negotiate in good faith? Like, did you ever mean, we spend so much time trying to explain things and debate things, and some people sit down to the table and they never intended to be truthful. They never intended to change their mind with new information. They only intended to get their own political ends met. And I think what we're seeing here are a bunch of people who see, right, they saw the injustice, but because they never intended on dealing in good faith with us in the first place, they would rather change their mind about the structure of racism in this country than to actually give any credence to what we've been saying all this time, right? So they had, I think the poll I don't believe were the previous polls. I believe these polls. These polls, because this is what they really believed all along.
I hadn't been thinking about that. I think you're totally right.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.